ready. Let me get the camera ready. Let me get the camera ready. Hey, 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 hey. Hi, hi, hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I see people are hopping on right now. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Skye Marshall. And I am taking over Stephanie's Instagram page. I don't think she knows what she signed up for. But anyway, hi. I'm excited to be here. Welcome to the Share the Mic initiative, where a white woman, which, to be honest with you, I'm open to non-black women who pass the baton and allow a black woman to step in and take over their platform for the day and do our best to inspire their community with our stories. So, thank you for having me. I could not have asked for a better platform to participate in this initiative on, because if you're a fan of Stephanie, then you're gonna get me, because she's a badass and she just runs into life full head on. When I first met Stephanie, it was at a pre-Oscars event, and I was just a fan, and we were standing in line, and I was like, oh damn, there goes Stephanie. Should I say something? Screw it, because I'm standing there by myself. I didn't have a publicist. And we were waiting to get on the red carpet, and I went up to her and said, hi, I'm a fan, I'm Skye Marshall. And she was super open and super friendly. And the photo that we both posted on our timeline yesterday, that was from that moment. And as you can see in my face, I was extremely happy to have met her. So, you know, when she reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to lend my voice on her platform, I was like, what? I mean, because meanwhile, I'm sitting at home, like I'm waiting for somebody to ask me out on prom. I'm like, I want to share the mic, but I can't ask. I need them to ask me. So when Stephanie reached out, I was besides myself. I was thrilled, and I just dropped everything and just got myself prepared and ready for this, because on my page, I don't do Instagram lives much. I just started with the uprise of the movement that has happened in the last 3 weeks, I would say. So bear with me. Bear with me on this. Who am I? So I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I spent a large portion of my childhood in Virginia. And I was a part of a black family that was the only black family in a predominantly white neighborhood. Actually, I brought some photos. Like, look at this photo. This is me and my crew. How gangster are they, right? So this was my childhood here. And with this childhood in Virginia, I was a spoiled brat. No, I'm just kidding. I never felt like I was different. The community that I lived up in, they didn't make me feel like I was different. But what I do remember my mom going around and making sure that she introduced us to every single family on the block. Once I got older, she and I had a conversation around, you know, when you are the only black family in a predominantly white neighborhood, you have to go around and introduce yourself and let them know that you live here, so that they do not accidentally or intentionally call the police because fear of intruder in their community. So my mom would go around and knock on every single person's door and make sure that she's like, this is my daughter Skye, this is my daughter Ada, this is my son John. We live right in the house down the street. They go to this school. My name is Patricia, and I am happy to meet you. So I'm not sure if other families had to do that, but once I started to have more conversations with other Black people that grew up in predominantly white neighborhoods, I started to realize that was the norm. But then we end up moving to a Black neighborhood in Chicago when I was 12 years old. So I have this story of riches to rags. Lived an amazing childhood, and then a lot of things just crumbled and falled, and that's a whole other life. So I went back to Chicago, and when I returned to Chicago, I was now living in all Black neighborhood, and that was the first time that I had actually experienced discrimination, because I did not know that I was dark skinned. I didn't know the dark skin, light skin thing that was going on in the culture. So that was something that I had to really open up my eyes and start to realize, oh my gosh, who am I? What does this mean? So I just poured myself into the community and wanted to learn as much as possible. And I haven't turned back. I'm always inspired and driven by movements with human rights, equal rights, civil rights. Literally, we are literally asking for civil rights. Like, can we just be civil? And with the Black Lives Matter movement, it is our call to action. And it's not just a call to action, it's not just Black people's movement. It's as much your movement as it is our movement. Because for anyone that's non-Black, it's a movement of awakening, right? Like, do you feel it? It's this awakening of, oh my God, what's been happening around me this entire time that I did not give my undivided attention to? This movement is about us saying, that we're worth fighting for, right? And man, have y'all put up a fight. I truly have been blown away by what I have seen at the protests and in the streets, and I have shared that in other interviews. That the first protest that I went to here in LA, I pulled up and I was like, I'm angry, and I'm like, let's go, Black Lives Matter, blah! And I get there and I just take a moment and I just start looking around. And as I'm processing what I'm seeing, every sidewalk, every street, every car around me, coming over the grass hills, running down the alleys, was nothing but white people. And I stood there, and I was with my friend Sophia Bush and Jazz Sinclair and Ross Lynch. And I stood there and I just started crying, because I had never seen that in my entire life. When you're stuck on social media, when you're stuck looking on Instagram, and reading all the posts, it can get to you. It can really grip your spirit, and you can get a bit like angry and frustrated and confused. But when I got outside, out of my apartment, out of quarantine, on top of that, and saw that support, I was shaking to the core of my body. And that's when I realized that this is not going to be like any other movement. I believe this is going to be the one that'll test times. This is not just a moment. This is definitely a movement. So this is all about creating a new normal and creating a new lifestyle, right? So yes, I'm from Chicago, and I used to be a dancer. That's where the performing arts came in. I was that little girl in the tutu, and I used to go do all the dance recitals. And then when I got to Chicago, I started to do hip hop, because ballet turned to hip hop. And on the south side of Chicago, at the time in the 90s, not to be telling my age, but you either joined a gang or a dance troupe or stayed neutral. And I decided to join a dance troupe, and we would go around and battle other dance troupes all around the city. And that's where the performing arts kicked in. But like many, I suppressed that dream. I had so many fears on participating in performing arts. I had so many fears on, being good enough to be an actor, to break into Hollywood. While being a performing artist as a dancer, I allowed that dream to, what I believed, die in that moment. And I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I went to, my plan was to go to college, graduate with honors, and then go to corporate New York. I couldn't afford college, so I went to the military. So I am a U.S. Air Force veteran. And while I was in the military, I worked as a medic, and I was stationed in Las Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base. So, I served my country in many ways, because I was up in the club, you feel me? But I was in the military during the Bush administration. So all hell broke loose after I joined during 9/11. Once I got out of the military, I finished up college, I got my degree, and I went and I got that shiny desk in corporate office, New York City. And while I was there, I realized that a cubicle was my own little hell. And now I'm not knocking anybody who does have a cubicle job, that does have a desk job. But for me, I did it for 2 years, and I felt like I was a mouse on a mousetrap. Like I felt like I had so much more in me than my PowerPoint presentation that needed to be reviewed Monday morning. I felt like I had so much more to say, but I didn't know. I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had no idea. Now here I served the military, paid for college, did college. Now I'm at this corporate office, what I thought was the goal, the dream. And it wasn't it. So I called up my mom one day and I said, Mom, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And she said, well, then you need to talk to God. That's what you have to do. You have to talk to God, and you have to ask God, for clarity, for guidance, and whatever it is, don't judge it. And I was like, okay, bet. I didn't have a relationship with God. I was a fan of his work. I appreciate what you do, but we didn't converse. But at that time, I had no other option. So I did. I sat down and I prayed and I prayed and I said, God, please, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life, but I know it's not this. Whatever it is, I will receive it. I will not judge it. I will move forward through it. I will go on this journey. And about 2 weeks later, I woke up a little bit before my alarm clock, and it was like, bam, acting, LA. And I woke up and I was like, hell no, I'm not going to LA. I'm in New York. I'm a New York girl now. Acting, not gonna happen. A high school dropout could do that. I got a college degree. I served in the military. I'm not going over there and playing make-believe. I immediately judged it. So what happens naturally, it was everywhere. My closest friends at my office were saying they were moving to LA. People kept saying to me like, oh my God, you're so funny, or you're so dramatic. Have you ever thought about being an actor? It was everywhere. It bombarded me. So after a while I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going. Now, remind you, I did not move to LA to start this new career as an actor with no legitimized training. It was right before my 28th birthday. Yeah, I was 27 going on 28. I say that to say Don't be hard on yourself if you are 18 years old or if you're 55 years old and you aren't sure what you want to do with your life. That's okay. That's what a life experience is for, so that you can figure out what you want to do. So I have this epiphany at 27, and right before my 28th birthday, I got in my car and I drove from New York to LA. And I decided that there were no other options. When you don't have any other options, you're all in. There's no turning around. There's no excuses. You're all in. And one thing that people asked me a lot when I first moved out here was, what did I just say? Rosa or Gina? Come on now. Come on now. You already know the answer to that. But one of the things, that people would say to me was, oh my God, you're going out to LA to be an actor. Like, aren't you scared of the competition? Aren't you scared of the competition? That was really big. That was a big question that people wanted to know. But when you think about it, especially in my lane in Hollywood, if you look at all actors, go ahead and take away the men. Now go ahead and take away all of the women that are not black. Actually, let's get a bit lower than that. Okay, now take away the women that are between, 25 to 35. All right, now take away the women that are, I don't know, physically fit and attractive, funny. So that was my competition. But when you look at the full picture, you're going to be extremely intimidated. But that was my competition. So let me share with you what my experience was like being black coming into Hollywood. When I came into Hollywood, this was pre-Oscar So White. And it was not a lot of opportunities available for black women. I would see the exact same black women in the audition waiting room constantly. To the point where sorry, I have a little puppy here. So if you see me dip, I'm not like, you about to lose your job. No, I'm just trying to make sure that the dog doesn't knock the camera over. But anyway, my experience, we would always see each other and just kind of like, what's up? Oh, like, hey girl. Oh, I like them lashes. We were cool with each other, even though we were fighting for the same role. Because at the end of the day, we just wanted each other to eat. We wanted each other to secure a bag. I have had conversations with other friends of mine, actors that are white, and they did not have that same experience. A lot of them have shared that it was very competitive. People don't talk to each other. People put their earphones in. They're focused, But I actually would enjoy going in these rooms and sitting around with other black women, especially when I started noticing women that I was fans of sitting in the waiting room with me. Now, when it comes to Hollywood, pre-Oscar So White, not only was there a limited amount of roles for African American women, but then there also was this separation, I would say, between dark-skinned black women and fair-skinned black women. The Viola Davises and the Halle Berrys, right? I would notice that a lot of my breakdowns, as far as character breakdowns for auditions, no nonsense, badass, chip on her shoulder, cocky, sassy, dangerous vibes. I was like, okay. And then I would compare it to my black female actor friends who were mixed race. And it was like bubbly, cute, approachable, life of the party, easy on the eyes, fluffy, and I was like, I want to be bright on the inside and easy on the eyes. Like, can I? And I would show my manager, like I would sit in auditions and I would like act like I was looking at my lines in my phone, but I would like be recording the girls in the waiting room. And I was like, it's all Halle Berry's here. I don't know what to tell you about this experience. We might have to move forward with another project. So that even I noticed. So then Oscar So White happened, right? The doors flung open. People of color were getting more opportunity than ever before to audition, not just for more seats at the table, but for like co-lead and lead roles. That was major. But it took women like Viola Davis and like Kerry Washington to use the stage when they were able to win an award. And they had this opportunity to thank everybody in their lives for the award. I don't know why I'm making my fist. Well, we should make the fist the award, right? They could use that platform to thank everybody, their fans and their family and God. But instead, they allowed that time to push the movement. They shared the message of the inequality of not just Black women in Hollywood, but also Black women's unequal pay in comparison to white women in Hollywood. So Oscar So White happened, door flings open, I run in because I'm like, I'm ready. and I did, and I got my first, I would say, big experience on this DC comic book superhero show called Black Lightning on CW, and it's also available on Netflix. And Black Lightning actually tackles a lot of the issues that we're discussing now. On Black Lightning, the villains are not just scary guys in super suits. It's police brutality, it's gang relation, it's sex trafficking, it's drugs in the community. So having that and being in that space, that brought in a large portion of Black audiences to my platform, which was awesome. And now a lot of the people that I share my social media space with are fans of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And Mambo Marie. So yeah, that's the character that I'm playing now in season 2, which is part 3 and part 4 of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. If there was anything from this movement that's happening right now that I would want, is for you guys to allow yourselves to be super uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be transformative. This is not easy. It's simple. It's simple, meaning read these books, check into some of these podcasts, donate to a few of these foundations, follow these, it's simple. The steps are simple, but it's not easy. There's a difference. But to have hope in this movement, you have to understand that hope requires discipline. Hope requires serious discipline. Every day you wake up, you have to choose to be hopeful. And one of the things that I would ask is that we all also use this time to take inventory of who you're following on social media, right? Like, I feel like, and I'm hoping that the definition of influencer changes. I really do. As far as who and what you let influence you, right? So I put a post on Stephanie's page earlier today of the 3 founders, Alicia, Opal, and Patrice, 3 founders of Black Lives Matter. I would say follow them. If we're putting the hashtag up everywhere, we should definitely know who the founders are and like how they built this movement from nothing. Like they had no money. They had no money. They met on Facebook and they started Black Lives Matter. And then they were called terrorists and they were attacked and they were dragged through the streets the same way that we've all seen, you know, Colin Kaepernick get, you know, dragged through the streets. You know, Cap was one of the first ones on a big public platform outside of protesters to say enough is enough. You know, so I want to let you guys know that I am going to be going to a protest at 4 p.m. today, and I'm going to take you guys with me. So I'm going to log back on to IG Live at 4 p.m. I'm going to take you guys with me. It is a Black Lives Matter organized protest. The reason that the Black Lives Matter organized protests are so impactful and so incredible, the experience is incredible, is because when you arrive, especially some of the ones that you've seen on television, on the news, we meet first and there's a short conversation and they tell us, you see the people with the green hats on? Those are all lawyers. You see the women and the men with the band on their arm? Those are medics. You see these guys over here with that on? Those are therapists. You know, you do not talk to the police. You don't speak on behalf of Black Lives Matter. That's what we're here for. And they have this saying, you know, no bungee jumpers. You know, and a bungee jumper is, you know, a white person that's like really excited and really pumped for the movement. And then they just jump out in the face of a cop and just start popping off, right? So they're like, no bungee jumpers, because you bungee jump in front of a cop, you know, chances are one of your Black allies that you're here to support could be hurt. You could be hurt. And you guys can go to jail. Someone can potentially die. So there's a lot of guidelines, and I feel safe and I feel secure when I'm with them. But do not, I'm telling you, do not feel bad if you're not protesting. Do not. There are so many different sectors in this fight for equality. I'm happy to be a foot soldier for you guys. I am happy to be boots on the ground because protesting is the PR for the movement. So I am happy to do that for you all. Today will be my 5th protest. But there's also, you know, just like in the military, not everybody is in the front line. There's also people that work in intelligence. You know, so you could work in intelligence. You could be a part of the team of people that research and educate yourselves and share information and tag book authors and artists and, you know, philanthropists. And like, you know, you could be a part of that education team. You could be a part of the finance team. You know, you can help build awareness around foundations that need funding, or you can just help and donate. When we protest, there are people that come out in their cars and they just drop cases of water and bags of snacks. And those are volunteers. You know, so you can volunteer either, you know, donating to a cause or just showing up and just saying, here, brought y'all some snacks because I know that, you know, fighting for Black lives can truly build up an appetite. Something's wrong with me. But yeah, you can find your own home in this movement. You don't have to be at the protest. I'm okay doing that for you. And I'm telling you, but today, by the end of the day, sometimes I'm so tired. I'd be like that. I'd be like, Black lives ain't matter here. Black lives ain't no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Whew. Because it is exhausting. It's exhausting being out there in the sun fighting. But I do it for me. I do it for my culture. I do it for my people. I do it for you. I do it for the future. I do it because we matter. We matter. That's it. We matter. you know. But what I want to do is just also ask that we don't lose this momentum. Okay? Like, let's not lose this momentum globally. This past Memorial weekend, May, I think it was 24th or 25th, I was with 3 of my friends. We were in Palm Springs, and my 3 friends are white. And we were, it was my first time seeing a MAGA hat, Make America Great Again. And we were staying in this community of a lot of, older white people that have houses on this golf course. And literally nobody was outside while we were walking to go to the pool. As we were crossing the crosswalk, the pedestrian crosswalk, literally, again, nobody is anywhere to be seen. This car that had been slowly making its way towards us revs up and flies by and almost hits me. My 3 friends stop and they freeze and they're paralyzed because they could not believe that had just happened. Now, I could be wrong because I was scared to ask, but I believe that was probably their first time ever witnessing racism with their own eyes. They were very angry. They were very frustrated. Especially my friend who is white male American. He was really upset and he kind of wasn't letting it go. So I would have to joke around just so we can kind of get back into vacay mode. I live in a really nice building recently. This is new money, baby, okay? And there's still a 1-bedroom apartment, so don't get it twisted. But I recently moved into this building that is a really great building in Los Angeles. And I've been stopped in front of my building with my dog of a Karen. I'm sorry if your name is Karen. This must be horrible for you. But a Karen, my sister's name is Karen, so I sympathize. She stopped me at my door and asked me if I lived here. And exactly the face I'm doing now is the face I did then. I was just like, oh, here we go. Here it comes. Okay. And I just took my buzzer out and I clicked and I was like, how about I let you in? And she went in and she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, it's just, there's a lot of, because, there's homeless people. Like, and I just want to, and I was like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's cool. And I just went into the building and I didn't think anything of it. 3rd story. And now this is all just within months. 3rd story, I'm on the rooftop and I have about 10 of my friends with me and we're all having a barbecue and it's all a bunch of majority black people and the building manager was there as well. And she too is black. And this white woman came up on the rooftop and she walked out and she looked around and then she went back in the building and shortly after she had called authorities on us and said that it was a rooftop of black people up there doing drugs. And the manager was with us. The building manager was with us. Couldn't believe it. I was super embarrassed, when this happened. And my building manager, Nikki, she had to spend 2 hours of her day showing them footage of us sitting up there being adults, having a nice barbecue, and no one was doing drugs. These things happen all of the time. Couple things I want to talk about because I get it a lot from people that say, but what about black on black crime? But what about black on black? This so many times before. Few things. One, if Deshaun shoots and kills Tyrone, Deshaun is going to go to jail for the rest of his life. And as he should. Screw him. But if Officer St. Patrick shoots and kills Deshaun, Officer St. Patrick gets paid administrative leave. Do you understand the injustice here? Right? Like, that's one of the things we're fighting for. It's not to say that we are ignoring black on black crime. You saw what happened when that black guy killed Nipsey Hussle. We lost it and said, send that man to jail. This is not only a black and white thing. Look, it's right and wrong. Look at the mugshots of the police officers who took the life or watched the life be taken of George Floyd. There's a mixed race black man and an Asian guy. We're still like, send them to jail. It's justice. It's justice. Do you understand? And the protest that we're doing today, it's defunding the police. So a lot of people that that might be confused around us asking for the funding of the police department to be minimized so it could be shared. This too will help bring more peace to predominantly black neighborhoods so that there can be less crime. I went to a school with metal detectors. Did you? In Chicago, right? So there's police presence all through black communities. They don't make it comfortable for us. If they were able to put more money in the black communities towards our school, towards our, we don't have counselors. We don't have, we have one nurse in a school. More of that money can be going to schooling. More of that money can go into the black communities when it comes to career development and coming up with different kind of programs so that they can be inspired to not turn to crime, not turn to the streets. Put more money into those communities so that they can get into performing arts. Put more money into the community so that they can have more outreach programs at the schools. Backpacking through Europe is not a part of our dinner table conversation. That doesn't happen in our schools. Get out of here. It's not happening. Put more money into the community and you'll see less crime. Get those liquor stores out of the black community. Put some more fresh fruit produce centers there and smoothies in acai bowls. I said acai bowl in Inglewood one time and they thought I was speaking Spanish. That's a problem. So more of this money needs to go into these communities so that they can flourish. But they are products of their environment. How is it that what they consider to be the ghetto, how is it that the roughest areas have the most cops? I'll wait. Like, if you have the most cops, would that not be the safest area to be in? Because a lot of times they are putting drugs into the community. A lot of times they are putting guns into the community. When people say, let's fix the police system, the justice system, it's not broken. It's acting exactly how it is supposed to act. This is exactly how the judicial system is designed. So that's why we're saying it needs to be reformed. We need to boot out a lot of the people that are in chain of command and bring new people in with new visions and new ideas. There's a lot of people on social media that are thinking theoretically like all lives matter. Yes, in theory. But in reality, if we come down to reality, all lives are not mattering right now. And that's where the Black Lives Movement came in, so that all lives can matter. Right? So I just want to make sure that you are on the right side of history. Get out of your head and get into your heart and understand that this is a feeling thing. If you hear the words Black Lives Matter and you have to debate that, That's a problem. So get out of your head and really get into your heart. And I want to thank you all for hanging with me. And I want to thank you all. Stephanie speaks so highly of her fans and her followers and her community. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to do this with you all. So I will be sharing some information in the stories. I'll be sharing a couple more posts. You know, I'm not going to paint up her page, but thank you. And I will be logging back on to IG Live at 4 p.m. I might be joined by a couple special guests. So yeah. See you later.